is The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
He is dean of the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International
In his new
Studies.
book, The Dispensable Nation, American Foreign Policy in Retreat.
School of Advanced International Studies.
First, Bloomberg.
Avi Rubin is a professor of computer science at the Johns Hopkins.
They had every warning and every indication.
Johns Hopkins may be a long way from Hollywood, but
Large Hadron Collider became the centerpiece of the documentary Particle Fever, the first film by two Johns Hopkins physics professors.
Today, we are announcing our decision to join with the Big Ten Conference as an affiliate member in men's lacrosse.
Last week, Johns Hopkins University President Ronald Daniels contended in an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal that the innovation deficit stems from a lack of funding to younger scientists in particular.
Clinton opened a Johns Hopkins University town hall meeting on prescription drug abuse.
But one who knows firsthand of the dangers of prescription drugs. You recall
a ribbon cutting this morning for the Henderson-Hopkins School in East Baltimore.
A partnership between the city school system and Johns Hopkins School of Education.
Hopkins University announced today that it's putting up $500,000 to offer paid internships to Morgan State University.
When George Alvarez was starting to apply to colleges, a top university like Johns Hopkins wasn't even on his radar.
That morning cup of coffee can help your long-term memory, according to researchers at Johns Hopkins University.
So should we all start drinking double espressos before exams?
And I've always been curious about the kind of effect that it can have on my memory and on my cognition.
This is the Marketplace Morning Report.
From Johns Hopkins economics professor Robert Moffett, who crunched welfare numbers over several
decades.
We
would think that the government would support the very poorest of the poor. I found just the opposite.
New research from a collaboration between Johns Hopkins University and the University of Maryland
found that when you don't have visual input, you can actually alter the brain circuits to process the sound better.
By English musician and producer Thomas Dolby, just named a professor at Johns Hopkins University, where he'll be teaching a class called Sound on Film later this fall.
Johns Hopkins has developed a Twitter, it's like a flu tracker for the season.
People are tweeting while they're homesick. They might even have more accurate data in real time sooner than the CDC or anyone else would have.
A Mississippi baby born HIV positive appears symptom-free.
Doctors from Boston and Baltimore were brought in to begin research.
Perhaps the initiation of very early antiretroviral therapy prevented the formation of the viral reservoirs.
Taking a look at eye-opening breakthroughs, designers at Johns Hopkins have created a bionic arm.
Has there ever been an arm quite like it?
Never. So this arm is intended to work with your brain just like your natural arm works.
Our next guest they're singing the national anthem, and all of a sudden I realized to myself that I'm holding my hand over my heart. How cool is this? Absolutely.
It is very f***ing cool.
News update.